Let's go ahead and begin with Kenny Pickett's hand size. They measured at a historically small 8.5 inches. Yesterday, he's asked about his hand size, dismissed some of those concerns, saying in his interviews with teams, it didn't come up that much. And before you think, wow, are we really going to talk about hand size here? We'll tell you why it does matter. So when you think about what's important, Pickett is a projected first-round pick in both Todd McShay and Mel Kiper Jr.'s latest mock drafts. Looking back at the last 25 drafts, there have been 73 quarterbacks taken in the first round. Among that group, only one with sub-9-inch hands, Michael Vick in 2001. Like Pickett, Vick had a small hand span of 8.5 inches, but that didn't deter the Falcons from taking him number 1 overall. Important to remember, too, that the NFL football is bigger, so in circumference, about 1/4 of an inch bigger than you would see in college. All right, so Lewis, how big of a deal is this measurement for Pickett?
Well, it's a big deal simply because of the fact that, Laura, look, it's about ball security when it comes to quarterback play and whether or not you can protect the fortunes of the franchise because you handle it every play. Now, the thing I will say in defense of Kenny Pickett is this. The way in which you measure your hands for purposes of the combine, the way in which you grip the football, because Kenny is double jointed in his thumb, it's a little bit better once he grips a football as opposed to what the hand size would measure and what that would indicate as far as his ability to protect the football. You can't get away from the fact, though, that in his career at Pitt, he's put the ball on the ground 27 times.
Yep.
Okay, so that's something that automatically is going to have people going, whoa, wait a minute.
Right.
They're going to directly correlate that with the fact that his hand size is 8.5 inches, although he says, I grip it just fine. The question becomes, where do you value him? How much does this knock him down? Where are you comfortable taking him, given the fact that he may put the ball on the ground for your football team? Look, I like the player. You know I'm biased. He went to the greatest school of all time.
There we
so
go.
we all know, and he
Take
broke
right
Danny Marino's records. So for me, you could have 2-inch hands. I'm drafting you anyway.
I'd really like to see that, but
Yeah, how about that? You might not be able to throw in that.
All right.
it's a concern. I mean, look, anytime you're talking about history, you got to be concerned because when you think about quarterbacks who have been outliers or aberrations, I don't know, Kyler Murray at his height, Michael Vick, they also have elite traits. Obviously, Kyler's elite escapability. Mike had a cannon attached to his arm. Even Joe Burrow, we talked about there with the 9-inch hands, had elite accuracy. And when I watch Kenny Pickett, I see so much to like. The ability to throw on the move, that second reaction ability that's so important in today's NFL. But I do question, does he have any elite traits that would make me overlook this aberration?
You know, I don't necessarily believe he has those elite traits, but if you watch the film from last season, he flat out balled. He made every throw on the football field. He was elusive. He got outside of the pocket, and he was able to score with his legs. And so he does have some of those traits that says, you know what, he can be successful. But Lewis, you know what the combine is about. The combine is about getting certain measurables and then attacking the film. And so when you look at the hand size and now you go back to the turnovers and you see some of the in-pocket fumbles, are those balls, or is it about not having ball security? Is it about not having awareness? Or is it because he can't grip the football when defensive linemen are swiping at it? And so that's what a team is going to have to do to see if this hand size matter. You're going to have to see what are the issues he's having in the pocket controlling the football, and does it correlate to hand size?
Well, if you're a good talent evaluator, first of all, you knew this already.
Right.
This isn't a surprise to everyone who's making decisions in the NFL. They knew it was going to be small, maybe 8 3/4, 8.5. But the other part is, if you're a good talent evaluator, you go and you match up the numbers with the tape, and you want to find out that specific issue. If it's a 40 time, you don't think he's fast on tape, then you're always going back and forth. In this case, is it the ball security, and how does he throw the ball in the rain?
Yeah.
That's the biggest. It's not wind. It's not really snow. It's in the rain. Second half of North Carolina this year, really struggled throwing the football. Second day of the Senior Bowl, a disaster throwing the football. He was the worst of the 6 quarterbacks there throwing the football, and he was the best of the 6 the next day when he was indoors without the rain. So part of the evaluation is, where do we play? What division are we in? Are we playing indoors? Are we in the NFC South, or are we in the AFC North, or the AFC East, or the NFC East? Like, that's a big difference in terms of how many times a year you're going to put this quarterback with small hands on the field and possibly dealing with rainy conditions that he does not excel in.
You know, again, a reminder that
how many times we said small hands.
I know.
I'm trying not to laugh every time, and it's so hard.
We're trying to be very serious. A reminder, too, that you guys do not have one of these quarterbacks, any of these quarterbacks, projected in the top 10 picks. So when it comes to fit, could be later. But I'm curious, Lou. I mean, obviously there's the Pitt tie for you. But let's take that out of the picture. Let's say this is a total quarterback that you don't know personally, you've never seen play like that, or you're not as invested in. How big of a red flag is this for you?
Well, I think a lot of the other factors that we're talking about here in terms of where do we play? Do we play outdoors? Do we play in the North, in the AFC North in particular, especially when we're talking about a team like Pittsburgh? Do you play in Denver when we're talking about the Denver Broncos or in Washington? A lot of that stuff has to factor into how you value the player, meaning what price are you willing to pay? Because you're going to have to live with some ball security issues. You just are, especially in the rain, as Todd is alluding to. Look, you just can't escape that fact. Now, getting the ball knocked off him in the pocket is totally different. It's like interceptions. Every interception has a story. Every fumble has a story. You look, if T.J. Watt's coming around the corner and punches the ball out of your hand, you can have 12-inch hands. It ain't going to matter.
But, Lou, is it something you look at when you see the turnovers in college that makes it a bigger issue, that makes it a larger red flag for you?
Of course, and I'll tell you why. Because of where you're projecting him to go. The draft is about mitigating risk in the first round. Okay, so whenever you're checking boxes, and I hate that term, but it's true. Whenever you're checking boxes in the first round, you want to check as many as possible, because if that player doesn't work out, when you're talking about a first-round pick, that can cost you your job if you overlook something like that and go, hey, it doesn't matter to me. He's a baller. But if it winds up being something that bites you, keeps you from getting to a Super Bowl, winning a division title, somebody's going to come calling for your job.
All right, again, so Kenny Pickett with historically small hands, 8.5 inches. At home, you're probably thinking, well, how big are my hands? We're going to tell you how you can measure your hands. Take a piece of computer paper, all right? Mina, let me get you one down there.
Here, I'll pass mine down.
Pass that down. But, Lou, you still need one. All right, so take it. And this, of course, is 8.5 by 11 inches. So 8.5 is what we're dealing with. Yeah, you're doing it. You're doing it. All right, so just take your thumb and put it here on the edge and then go across. So I mean, what am I cheating here? But I think my nails might be helping me, but I've got at least 8.5-inch hands.
Yes.
Ryan does not.
That's
Wow.
8.5. That is 8.5.
Please zoom in.
Totally fumble. I'm good.
Lewis is golden.
I'm good.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming, sports, and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.